Teachers have always been the under-recognized heroes of our communities. They dedicate their lives to fostering the well-being and growth of their students, helping them deepen their self-confidence and develop lifelong skills. And even when the world turns upside down, they can drastically adapt their bustling in-person classes to virtual classrooms overnight, just as we've seen over the last year. Sharon McKeague, who teaches Foods, which is a modernized version of home economics at Rancho Santa Margarita Intermediate School, is one of the many teachers who transformed her hands-on class into a virtual course for an indefinite amount of time last March.
And even at that time, I thought, okay, this will be a month or a few weeks. We'll be back for sure by end of May, June, have our 8th grade graduation and everything. So, I feel like so naive every step of the way, and then even then it was like, oh, we'll be back in the fall. It'll be fine. So just been surprised every step of the way.
Before we jump into Sharon's teaching experience as a foods teacher during the pandemic, let me walk you through Sharon's classroom pre-COVID-19. Picture 30 middle school students buzzing around the cooking classroom, working in teams of 5 or 6 on stainless steel countertops, learning how to measure ingredients and cook on their individual electric burners. Can you smell the baguette bread and the omelets the students are making under Sharon's direction? This was just one day in Sharon's active and vibrant foods class before the pandemic hit. When Rancho Santa Margarita Intermediate announced last March that they would be canceling all in-person instruction, Sharon quickly pulled herself together, working hard to create an online format for her hands-on foods class in just a few days. She began filming herself cooking at home and compiling activities students could complete virtually. Since teaching online, Sharon expressed to me that one of the hardest parts of virtual learning is connecting with students.
And a lot of kids in Zoom don't turn their camera on. You just don't feel connected because their camera's off, their audio's off. You don't have that much interaction. But there are some kids that do have their camera on, and I just appreciate that so much.
And since some students choose not to put their camera on, this means that teachers don't know what some of their students look like.
I was in a grocery store, actually not in the town where the school is, and a girl came up to me. Of course, I'm wearing a mask and she's wearing a mask. And she said, "Are you Mrs. McKeague?" And I said, "Oh, yes, I am." And it was a student I'd had first trimester, but she had never been in class because most of the first trimester was still online. And how crazy is that you have a student and you don't even recognize them out and about because, with masks and everything and without as much communication, it's tough.
In addition to the hardships of virtual engagement, there are often more people attending the class than just the enrolled students. The students' parents are often in the room with their children, but just not seen on camera. So to put it in perspective, imagine your supervisor constantly monitoring you while you're trying to work. This is something that teachers have faced with virtual learning. And even though teaching online feels foreign for most instructors and comes with several difficulties, there are ways in which Zoom can also create unique moments of hilarity that make school memorable and fun.
We were in Zoom and I was at home and my internet glitched and I was kicked out of the Zoom. And I was just like, oh my goodness, because I knew that the Zoom class was still continuing without me in it with no adults. So I'm thinking, oh goodness, there's all these, 12 and 13-year-olds in this Zoom class without me. What's going on? So I moved my laptop, closer to the router and I'm trying to get back on the internet, back. I finally get back on the internet. I get back in the Zoom classroom and I'm like, hello, first I get back in and I hear them talking and laughing. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, finally they're talking and laughing. But I was very nervous, like, oh no, what has been going on? Well, I've been gone. So I kind of say, hey, I'm back, everybody. And kind of jokingly, I hope everybody was on their good behavior. And in the chat, a couple students privately messaged me. One student said, "Oh, don't worry, they were just having fun." And someone said, "Somebody was showing the Bee Movie." Somehow it automatically chooses another host. Well, I found out who it was. And that was just privately to me. So I said, "The Bee Movie?" I go, "Well, if you're going to watch a movie, you guys, at least choose a movie that's food related, something like Ratatouille." And then this one girl, she says, "Hey, who ratted me out?" And I said, "Well, nobody did. They said someone, but now I know who it was." And yeah, some other student said, "You ratted yourself out." And another a boy said, "You fell for the classic blunder of all time." It ended well. Nothing crazy happened, and I was relieved. I was worried, like on my watch, something terrible happened. But that was the good mischief. I like the good mischief. I think it's good.
At the end of September 2020, Saddleback Valley Unified School District decided to implement the hybrid teaching model. In this model, Sharon is simultaneously teaching her students in the classroom as well as online, having to adapt her teaching methods once more.
I was actually really excited about the hybrid model. I thought, wow, that's really fantastic for education to not have these classrooms just bulging at the seams, to have half the students in the classroom. And I was so excited. And then as the details came down, it's like, and you'll be teaching the Zoom kids at the same time.
To put it simply, teaching in the hybrid model is challenging. In this model, Sharon has to create assignments both in-person and online students can complete. When she starts teaching, she's holding the classroom door open to greet her in-person students, simultaneously letting online students into the Zoom call. She's then bringing her tablet around the classroom so that online students can learn alongside their in-person peers. Additionally, Sharon goes above and beyond in taking the time to create kits with ingredients and materials for online students to pick up at school, ensuring that they have the resources to participate virtually. It's hard to juggle instructing in both formats, but it's the engagement and the enthusiasm of the students, especially the online students, that makes teaching special.
So we're ready in class, and she's got her camera on. She's in her kitchen with her apron, with her pan, and she's ready to do it. I was jumping up with joy, literally. I'm like, hooray!
Since the integration of the hybrid model, Rancho Santa Margarita Intermediate School reported just over 20 cases of COVID-19 among teachers and students coming to school, excluding those who are fully learning online. And even with the hurdles of online classes, wearing masks, and practicing physical distancing in the classrooms, teachers like Sharon continue to find ways to encourage their students and help them grow.
I remember recently, the day we were doing the omelets in class, this one boy came up to me before class. He knew that's what he was going to be doing. And he was very shy, and I could tell he was really nervous. And he said, "Mrs. McKeague, I've never cooked anything in my life." And I was like, "Oh, it's okay. You're going to do this. You're going to do it." So, everything from cracking his egg to making his omelet, he was just so nervous, but it turned out great. I mean, you can't really ruin it. And he was so pleased. And I just remember days like that make it worthwhile. And just like, okay, this is why I'm doing this. It's really, really joyful.
Teachers like Sharon McKeague are truly honorable in that even during the midst of a pandemic, they continue to work tirelessly in prioritizing their students' well-being and academic growth. It's teachers like Sharon whose commitment to student success and engagement is nothing short of admirable.